Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so honored to be here with you on this journey of transformation. Today is Mindset Monday, and we have Dr. Will that's going to join us today. Well, this year is we're stepping boldly into what we call the year of the rebirth, right? It's a time to rediscover, realign, and reclaim the most authentic version of ourselves. Well, this month's series, we focus all about mindfulness and presence. And today on this special Mindset Monday, we are diving deep into a powerful practice that's often overlooked, but and absolutely essential, and that is breath work. Breath is life. Breath is life. And when we learn to connect with our breath, we open a doorway to peace, clarity, and just being in presence. So joining us today is our resident therapist and beloved friend of the show, Dr. Will Washington. He's a licensed clinical therapist and a breathwork facilitator. He's going to show us some things today, and who has helped hundreds of clients reclaim peace through simply yet transforming practice. But before we bring Dr. Will to the stage, we're going to take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Ready to transform how you think about love and mental health? This May, join host Nyomi Banks and Dr. Will Washington and expert guests on Love and Mental Health, a powerful 4-part series exploring relationships through the lens of mental wellness. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Ask Nyomi, Bridging the Gap. Do you have a story to share? Your experience matters. Email us at asknyomi@gmail.com and be part of the conversation that's changing lives.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people, welcome back. Hey, Dr. Will.
It feels so good to be on a Monday like this. I'm like, a new day, new week. We can set this right. Let's do this right. Let's do this right.
I'm excited about this. You know why I'm excited about this? Because I watch your social media. Yeah, I be stalking. I be watching your social media, and I see you do.
It's getting better, right? Tell me it's getting better.
Oh, yes,
trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
We can end the podcast right now because that's all I was waiting for.
Yes, it is. It's good. It's great, and I love how you use. One of the things you use is the breath work that you use, but also you use the different tools of just being in meditation, being in the moment. And so I was excited when I was like, okay, we're going to do some breath work. I'm going to do what I learned. But I want Dr. Will to show us, because even in that little commercial, and even when you give us our time for meditation, you be taking us somewhere.
I breath, it can mean the matter between life and death. So I had to learn multiple ways on how to breathe, so that I knew how to breathe right with the right people.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. That. Well, we're going to start breathing today. I know this is something new. I talked about it a little bit last week about it. And this week, we want to kind of break down breath. I remember listening to why it's so important to breathe when I went to the Art of Living through the spiritual retreat. And I didn't really understand how important breathing exercise when it comes, especially when you're doing meditation and even just being in that mindful moment, what we call it. And I remember the first thing it said, what do you need? What is it that you need to live other than water? And everybody was looking around. Breath. You need to be able to breathe. And you don't think about it because breathing is second nature. You feel that's it. And like, no, that is one thing that we can use as a healing process. You don't put two and two together because you don't think about that. You don't think about that. But then when I think about times when you have anxiety, what's the first thing to go? Your breath, because you're trying to catch it.
Yeah.
But if you're able to control it, start to massage it, as I say, massage it and get it to working for you, then it's an amazing tool. It's an amazing asset that we all have.
And I think for me, it was being a musician. I am focused on breath so intentionally, right? I time it out, right? Beats per minute. I am literally counting my breath all the time. Then I go to martial arts where my breathing can determine the input and output of my movements, and I think even just looking at how people, even when people are depressed, the way that they breathe is so differently. Even just how you've been physiologically made, right? People that are mouth breathers typically are more unhealthy than people that are nasal breathers, because even our body has been created. And we'll talk about this later, but just how like our bodies were designed to breathe a certain way on purpose for our own survival and healing. So like we're gonna get into that. I can't wait to talk about this. So I'm pumped.
Yeah. All right, my beautiful people. So look, this is how we're gonna do this one this time, and it's already pre-recorded, as we know. This one is going to be, we're going to do 4-4-6. And in 4-4-6 is breathing in 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and then breathing out slowly at 6 counts with your mouth on this one.
Amen.
And if we got time afterwards, we can do the breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose later on. This is after you do your little thing. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
We gonna get this right this time. All right, my beautiful people, if you could just close your eyes and just prepare for this moment right here, right now. All right. Now let's take a deep breath in through your nose with a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale through your mouth for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's do that again. I want you to inhale on 4 for 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You feel your body relax? I want you to notice where you're holding tension. And I want you to give yourself permission to release it. I want you to bring your awareness to this moment and know that you are safe, that you are loved, and that you are exactly where you need to be. And when you are ready, please open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. This is something we do every day, Monday through Friday here, just to help ground us before the topic at hand. Yeah, let's get to it. I would be editing my ass off on this. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, Dr. Will, let's get into this.
Amen. Woo. We here. Well, let's be honest. Laughing is a beautiful part of breath work and mindfulness because laughter is a key of life. It helps regulate the body, it helps regulate the mind, it helps decompress, and it allows us to re-regulate our stiffness in the way we breathe. So laughing is truly medicine. So
Yes,
I'm happy I can laugh with you.
yes, I am too. Let's jump right in it.
Let's go.
So can you start by explaining what exactly is breath work? I know we talked a little bit before we went into meditation, but what is it?
Yes. So breath work is the state of learning not only your external surrounding, but also make an internal surrounding of how you can find safety, security, and stillness with your body. A lot of times breath work is done to help us recreate what safety means, especially for those that have been through traumatic situations, those of us that may have been through events or episodes that have shaped our entire hearts. And breathwork is a great beginning and lifestyle of how to navigate through life, because our breathing can determine fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, right? And so you can notice that people that do breath work have a different approach to life because they're checking in with themselves before they check out with others. And so breath work and mindfulness is like peanut butter and jelly as far as a way of living life.
Mm-hmm.
And, I ask a lot of my friends, hey, did you breathe today? Because it's so involuntary, we kind of forget how important it is, even the way we speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can tell the way someone breathes by the way that they speak. And so breath can truly change your entire soul, your entire life, your entire mental illness structure. And I think that we don't incorporate it enough because we're all given it. We're all given breath. So sometimes we take advantage of what breath really is.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because a lot of people right now probably listen like, well, I take a deep breath in. That's breath work, ain't it? Could you explain to them what's the difference between taking a deep breath in and really doing the breath work?
The mindfulness aspect,
Mm-hmm.
right? The mindfulness aspect is you teaching your body to slow down, you taking time to physiologically adjust yourself in a way that is complementary to your stillness. You're allowing your mind and your body to become on one accord. And a lot of times when people are just sighing a lot, it's usually not actually healthy at all. So just on like a physical biological tip, right? The reason why we breathe through our nose is not just because we have a nose. The nose can block from bacteria. It gets, debris. It filters. It helps regulate the temperature of air. It allows to make sure that enough oxygen and not too much CO2 is occurring as well. If you just always breathe in with your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
you take in a lot of unfiltered things around you, and it actually can start to really like reset. It actually causes illness a lot of times as well. So it's important to know that when you're breathing out within your mouth, you actually become unhealthy. So I think breath work is important because it teaches us how to actually set safety within our bodies. And when we're just breathing a lot, we're not creating anything safe. We're just inhaling large amounts of oxygen, CO2, bacteria, and all these other things. So
Right.
I think it's important to just really reset on how we can look at the benefits of just breath work alone. It changes the way we communicate within our body.
All right, beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Will. So now you mentioned before about how you use breath work with your music as being a musician, but can you give us a little bit more history on your background of breathwork practices and what you do?
Yeah, so I would say the first time I really got into breath work, so I've been doing mindfulness for over 8 years now, but I didn't really make it a conscious effort in my healing practice until I started doing hypnotherapy. And so for me, doing hypnosis, um, you needed to learn breathing, because when people go into altered states of consciousness and they start doing age regressions into the subconscious mind, their body has to be in a relaxed state. Your body has to feel safe. Your body has to feel, all four corners have to be breathed in, technically, to actually get into that deeper part of you. And so I learned the foundation of breathing through hypnosis and age regression. And through that, I found that when they get into a younger state, like 5, 3, even in the womb, their breathing becomes more still. They start breathing from their stomach and not their chest, right? Breathing isn't just how you breathe, it's how your body's positioned, how your body stays. A lot of times you're either a chest breather or you're a stomach breather, right? And if you're a chest breather, it typically means that you have a little more stress than normal, because you're supposed to be breathing from the bottom. And in me being a musician, I always breathe from my gut because that's how I'm taught. So I condition myself to breathe that way, but I didn't even start out that way, right? And so I didn't realize that I was holding so much stress in me. And even the way that you breathe can create physical impairment, because you may be putting a lot of pressure in your body when you breathe. So just how when you walk, right, the way you stand can hurt your backs of alignment, right? Breathing has the same power, because think about it, you breathe hundreds of times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the breathing wrong over 100 times a day does something to you in the long run, right? So think about that. This thing, if you ate like a plate of ribs every single day for over a year, something's going to happen to you,
Right.
So think about the way, if you don't breathe correctly, it changes the entire makeup of your immune system, and then your immune system even gets affected. So for me, my background in breathing was to make sure that my clients were breathing intentionally to reach a deeper part of themselves. And then once they come back up, they're able to breathe intentionally moving forward in life. When they feel triggers, when they feel stress, they know how to reach their body in ways that their breath never did before.
You know,
So you want your breath to reach your body.
yeah, this is incredible. I mean, I love how you even explaining it, to us about how just a natural tool that we have is so important for our life healing, process. I'm wondering if this is something that was with us for many, many years and it just got lost in the sauce. You understand what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, just in ancient times, the breathing, this is why it's so important. Like when you think about just aromatics,
Mm.
right? There's a reason why we have different scents in different spaces, ceremonies, sacred spaces, Palo Santo and cleansing spaces. They're supposed to be reminders, because even the air, that filtration changes your body chemistry,
Yeah.
right? Smell, all our senses were meant instinctually for survival,
Mm-hmm.
right? We taste, smell, see, hear, feel, because that was a matter of life and death. And so we have unregulated ourselves because of the way that we live our lives. Yet we still have this instinctual nature, but we don't condition it in the way we used to anymore.
Mm.
And that's so important to really consider.
Wow. You saying that, just really going back, just really sitting in it and thinking about how, I don't want to say caveman, but back in the day, we didn't have a alarm. We had none of that, none of that. So we had to go on instincts,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about sleep. We haven't even talked about sleep yet, right? We haven't even talked about sleep yet, right? Like I've trained my body to wake up with the sun. That took me months. It took me months. And even just the way you sleep. Think about how much CO2 you keep in your body. if you keep CO2 in your body, you poison your body.
Mm.
So are you even breathing out enough in your life? A lot of us don't even breathe out enough. We breathe in. It's not even enough CO2 that's coming out of our body. So our body's literally sitting in toxin. So it's like, and some of us are breathing in CO2 because we're breathing through our mouth.
Right.
So it's like, we don't even recognize how we're even harming our bodies from breathing and speaking. So yeah, like that, like we gotta go there.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits. Let's do that. What are some of the proven mental health and emotional benefits for practicing breath work?
Well, I recommend people taking a BOLT test, BOLT. BOLT test is a great starting point if you don't know how breathing is negatively affecting your body and your health. And so you can actually take a test there, and you can see how much CO2 tolerance you have. So a BOLT, a BOLT test, that's a really great way to just figure out like what's going on with stress in my body. How is my body not trained to handle O2 and CO2? Like in and out. So take the test. Also take time to actually see if your body, if you breathe from your chest or from your stomach. If you lay down and you just do normal breathing, what rises first, your stomach or your chest? That's going to tell you a lot about what's actually happening in your body. And lastly, how much time do you spend being stressed? A lot of us don't realize that we be stressed for hours at a time and don't even recognize it. We don't even know what it even means to be stressed. Or it's like you're always stressed, but it's not the level of stress that you want to care about.
Right.
Well, what made you desensitize your ability to be stressed? Because stress actually shortens your breath, right? Triggers shorten your breath, right? These things shorten our breath. And so you may not be breathing in long enough, which is why you're breathing so much and your body's working harder, which is why you're more exhausted. And then you're always really sleepy because you've been breathing inappropriately for the past 8 to 15 hours of your life every day. So, you know, I definitely make sure I breathe before my sessions, after my sessions. And when I feel like I can't get a hold of myself, I'll check out just to make sure I'm breathing right. And I realize how tired I am.
Right.
A lot of times I recognize I'm just tired. And I don't even realize that because we live in a society that keeps pushing. So we don't even realize that.
Yeah. You know, thank you for that. I love this. And why is because even though, like I said, when I first really learned deeply about the breath work was at the retreat, you know, and it wasn't, you're actually telling me a lot more that I didn't know. Just even thinking about just the, what do you call it? It's with the C. What's the name of it again?
Oh, the BOLT test?
Well, the BOLT test is one thing, but with the chemicals that we breathe
Oh, the
in,
CO2.
the CO2, there it is,
Yeah.
the CO2. And just with thinking about that, just is like, wow, like we don't truly understand how important breath work is. And I'm wondering why these are not in school. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
now they teach yoga, right? They try to teach yoga, but even yoga doesn't. Yoga's great for the breath, right? Don't get me wrong, it's great stuff, but teaching children to breathe is the first sign of focus, right? That's the first sign of focus. Being able to breathe when they're stressed. When toddlers are stressed, we teach them to breathe. You don't say stop crying. You say breathe, breathe. You don't tell the child to stop crying. They're emotionally regulating in front of you. You're the one that's uncomfortable as an adult, right? So it's like teaching them to breathe when they're upset, teaching them to breathe when they're angry, teaching them to breathe. And yes, it takes a little bit longer sometimes, but if you can model that behavior, they learn how to self-regulate in a healthier way, right? And also, people don't even realize that when you're stressed and you don't breathe in and out appropriately, you're actually lightweight hyperventilating through an entire day. You're literally hyperventilating through an entire day without even realizing it. You're just doing baby hyperventilations. So it's like we have to get a hold on this breath. And schools, they teach yoga right now, but if you don't breathe in yoga, those postures are they're terrible to go through.
Yeah.
You can't stretch your body without the proper oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
In your own work with your clients, what kind of transformation have you seen through breath work, and do you use breath work on your clients?
Yeah. So, like, I'm like telling my secrets now. So, so now I hope none of my clients like watch this. So a lot of times when I notice that my clients are being their best representation and not their most authentic self, or if I find that they are ruminating, or if they are living a narrative that's false from what they came in with, or if they are not willing to sit with their emotions, I'll tell them to pause first. That's strike one. Pause. What are you noticing? That's my first sign. The second sign is, well, let's sit, which means slow down, internalize, then talk it out. And then the third strike is, let's breathe about that. Because I need you to stop. Because what you're doing right now is not telling the truth. You're not aligned. You're not being honest about this session. You're not honoring your space in this. So then when I say breathe, and I say, what are you really trying to say to me? And then they say the truth. Then they say their truth. Because a lot of times I notice that my clients lie. When they lie, their breathing shortens. It becomes more shallow. They don't breathe between their sentences. Their postures get more stiff. Their speaking gets more striated. Their voice gets more striated. Their tone becomes more high pitched. There's so many things that happen, and it's their breath that gives it away every time. So it's just a matter of, I learn how they breathe. I learn how my clients breathe. So.
Thank you for sharing that. That's some real stuff right there, Dr. Beer.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that goes in my head in the session. I pick everything apart, but breath is the first thing I notice. That's the first thing I notice is breath, posture, language, consistency, and inconsistencies. Or rules of identifying client behavior.
Okay, so let's get real. Let's get real for the listeners right now. Let's give them some tools that they can carry today with them. So can you walk me through a few of your breathing techniques? And
ooh, you want to do something? Okay, we can do something. So this is the one I made, actually. I made this one because I wanted to bring my music into it. Because being a musician, you learn how to breathe in such a beautiful way when you don't know how to, especially when people are bad breathers, right? So let's do it. So I want you to relax yourself for a little bit.
Okay.
And y'all can join as well. What I like to do is if you can get like a metronome, and put it at like, a normal BPM, beats per minute, where you hear like a, something like that. But I'm gonna count it.
Okay.
You're gonna breathe in for 4, right? Then you're gonna breathe out for 4. You're gonna breathe in for 8, and then you're gonna breathe out as much as you can, and then you're gonna hold it without breathing. So I'm gonna speak to you while it's happening, so don't worry.
Okay.
And then you're gonna breathe in again for 4. So we're gonna go 4 in, 4 out, 8 in, all the way out. Hold it as long as you can until you feel like you should breathe again. And then we're gonna repeat it again.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 3. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe it all out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And hold it out. And when you feel like you're ready to breathe back in, breathe in with your nose. Two, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way out. 2, 3, 4. And you hold it when you're all exhaled. Then you can do 4 in again, 4 out, 8 in, and all the way out again. Do one more round. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you breathe in and we'll release and come back.
That felt good. The challenging was the 8. The 8,
Mm-hmm.
going out. In the beginning, it was, but as we went, and I was able to hold my breath much longer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did really great when you were holding your breath, Ellen. I was watching your neck and your body. You're very still. So if I was watching you, right, what it lets me know is that the way you look at stress is you want to know how it affected you, how is something affecting them, and what does it mean for you, right? So you're keen. You watch what's the problem. You're watching the problem, and so with you, the breathing, what's going to happen if you did that? If you keep doing that, you'll stop counting again. You'll just you'll just end up making a flow.
Yeah.
And so you're learning right now the power of your calmness. And so for me, I would quite like, if we had a session, I would ask you, who disrupts the rhythm of your day? What disrupts the rhythm of your day? Because you have a very fluid breathing pattern. You understand. So for me, it's about who ruins your rhythm, who disrupts your rhythm, or what things are. Then we would go into those stresses, those triggers, those relationships, what they might mean, what symbolism is it, and go into that. But yeah, so, what did it feel like when you were sitting in that stillness? I'm curious.
It just so smooth, just so smooth. So let me share this with you all in the audience right now. There's this, like, right here. I feel like it's a heavy chip that's right here, that's on my shoulder right here. And as we were doing that, I kind of felt it ease up a little bit. Just doing that. And I probably could have kept going a little bit longer. And it probably to go ahead and subsidize out, go out, but it's not as heavy as it was right here.
We're chipping that little pull away. We're chipping it away.
Right, just chipping it away. And it's crazy because it just came all of a sudden, and then just doing that exercise has helped, to comment in the moment. But I think I was intentionally wanting to feel relaxed with that breathing. Not only relaxed, but for me to heal whatever it is that needs to be healed in my inner body. That is what I was concentrating on for me. Yeah.
I love that. And sometimes in that, when that stillness, I'll ask them to scan their body in the stillness and be like, in your body, where do you feel ache? Where do you feel tension? Where do you feel? And you put your focus towards that part in the stillness. And then you breathe back again, and even in martial arts, I'll tell people, like, it was important that I learned how to breathe from my feet all the way to the top of my head, right? My breath goes down to my feet. I collect energy from the ground I stand upon and allow that. So, I punch from my feet, and the mindset of knowing that we're so connected to the ground, to the space around us. Because we don't get taught that. We don't get into that at all. We don't talk about what connected we are.
Yeah.
Our breath is truly disconnected from us.
Yeah. Even when you're talking about the grounding, from your feet, breathing, and I've heard that several different times. And if you can explain it for the listeners, like you can breathe through your feet. One thing is what I learned, and I'm gonna come back to the question that I asked you, is that when I'm like sick or when I have the flu or something like that, I always do my feet first, the soles of my feet. That is where I put Vicks or whatever kind of herbal creams or whatever on my feet, on the soles of my feet, and then I wrap them or put them in socks, because that's where my healing comes from. Ever since I was a little girl, I guess that's something that my grandmother used to do, or even put was it garlic?
Yeah, garlic, onions.
Yeah, onions. In
Mm-hmm.
it, and kind of help heal from
Detox.
there. But I never thought about the breathing, and I heard that once before. Now, I know we talked about the body scan. So how can they do that coming from the bottom of their feet all the way to the tippy top of their heads where their crown chakra is?
Mm-hmm. I always tell when someone's new at it, I always tell them to start out anything that can bend in your body. Focus your mind on that. So imagine yourself like starting your toes where your toes can bend, right? Think about the joints that can bend. Your ankles next. Your knee is next. Your hips are next, right? Like any place that can bend, you want to focus there first, because if I do too much detailed work, it gets kind of messy.
Right.
So anywhere that can bend, put your energy towards that, because those are usually the places you use the most. So you're more able to mentally connect to the places, the joints that actually are being used the most. So I would say focus your energy or your attention on the bending of it. And does it bend okay? Does it feel stiff? Does that part feel great? So I tell them like to wiggle your toes slowly, right? Wiggle your ankles slowly. And they actually start sweating because they never focused on their body like that before.
Yeah.
People sweat because they've never focused on themselves that much before in their life. So it's a really great technique.
Yeah, that's a beautiful breakdown. When I do my spiritual baths, and I used to do my spiritual baths, is I do a lot of gratitude. So I start from my feet and I thank for my feet. The walk that I
Great.
walk, standing, then I go from my legs to my knees, up my thighs, my uterus, my hips on where I carry, I all the way up. And I, constantly pour, my sacred water on top of that. But through that, there's a different prayer for each one of those things. So even with breathing, if you can attach that gratitude kind of chant or prayer with that, I think that'll be something good.
Yeah. And for me, when I was doing my 5 a.m. meditations, I would actually every breath I would think about a person. So I would like think of my mom. I breathe in, and my mom would come closer, and I breathe out, my mom would go away. I breathe in, my brother would come closer, and then my brother would go away. I breathe in, and my niece would go closer, and then it would go away. And so I would like make sure every breath I was getting one, and then I would notice which breaths did I not have closer ones to, and which ones I did, because it means there's something different in the relationship, right? There's something there. So I would always try to like make sure that my breath, I'd really make sure I breathe in that person, right? And mentally think about those people.
Yeah. I have a question for you. And once you finish with your question, I'm going to share a story with you all. Is it normal to feel emotional during breath work?
Yeah. When I first started, I was crying. I was like, why am I crying, being breathing all the time? I'm like, this is a lot. Yeah, so let me just say it like this. I'll say it briefly. In hypnosis, we look at things differently from a subconscious point of view. And everything has a meaning. And it's amazing how we self-harm ourselves by emotionally suffocating ourselves. We emotionally suffocate ourselves in ways that doesn't allow our heart to really live. And that's the nicest way I can put it. And so when you breathe, you unlock or you allow your heart to breathe again in ways that you've emotionally suffocated it in the past. And so the breathing unlocks that stillness and that emotional awareness. And you might journey or think about stories or realize how saturated you've been by these stories that have plagued your heart and suffocated you emotionally. So breath work really can open up that door for you.
Yeah. When I really tapped into that breath work at the institute, at the retreat center, and we were there for a good hour doing breath work. And I remember, I think I was the only one in the space that was crying because, first of all, I understood why I was there. And as you said, when you're doing all of that breathing in, breathing out, and we was breathing in through our nose and out through our nose. And so all of this, as a singer, you used to use your diaphragm. Those are the tools that we were not able to use like that. And so being, and we were in different ways. One, we were sitting up for a point in time, and then we would lay down and do it laying down in different, positions. And as I was going through these different positions, literally my life was like going through myself consciously, like I was seeing everything that brought me to that moment. Does that make sense? That brought me to that moment. And I had so many emotions. I felt full. Like, oh my God, I felt so full. But also I felt, I don't want to say shame. I felt like, why did it take me so long? You know what I'm saying? And so in that process, when you're dealing with those two different types of emotions, there, it's like, wow, and then that's where, when I close my eyes, and that's when I start seeing different parts of people's body to light up and shine. And that's where I truly tapped in a sense of power that I had that I didn't know that I had, when I was able to see that and do that. And so it was so revealing to me that whole entire weekend, that breath work was very important for me. So even when I left there was a challenge for me to do. I believe it was a 30-day challenge. And I did it. And I did it. Wow. And it's a hard breath work. It's like a good 30 minutes. 30-minute breath work that you do. And it starts off with 3 stages of breath work. It's like we start from here, right down here, then we go here up under the breast, and then up here of a count of 8 to 10 breaths that you take. And you're breathing in and out of your nose. So it's like you breathe in for 8. And that's hard when you never did that before, because, we do 4, 4, 6, like that. But when you
the box method,
and it wants you to, and how they talk is like, when you breathe in, when you hear that back there, and so they want you to feel that air coming back through your nose. Then you like that back there. So when it's like you're making these sounds to come in and out to make, and it was, when I say I did that for 3 days, it was so deep and so, it cleared a lot of things out. It did. It cleansed a lot of things out. Like even sinus infections that I would get.
I have runny noses. I have runny noses when I breathe well enough. I would get runny noses and I would drain a lot. And I learned the power of making the hiss sound, like the breathing out. That the vibration of that would help my body regulate. It would actually shake my body from the inside out. Like, it really does wonders too.
Yeah, it truly is an amazing experience, just the whole breath work. And it does. It helps. It truly do help with mindfulness. It helps you it helps to calm you. Just what you did right there. And I was able to, be in the stillness just there. but I was able to concentrate on that little whatever that is that was on my shoulder, because you're making you aware. There is nothing else,
It's an
even though I hear,
invitation,
yeah,
right? Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think I think that's the big thing about breath is that breath invites that invitation of discomfort, right? It invites the invitation for the conversation of discomfort that you may be experiencing that you have not brought forth to yourself.
I like that. I like that. I like that you said that, and I hope y'all understood exactly what he said. When you are sitting in it, I call it sitting in it. When you are sitting in it, and you are taking those breaths, and I ain't talking about I'm talking about those deep, deep breath and intentionally taking those breaths in and out. You're making yourself aware of you or who you are and what's going on with your body, with your mind, with your spirit. I mean, this is where truth comes to you, really. And if you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, breath work would definitely have you telling your truth to yourself.
Yeah.
And my prayer is that you would stop lying to yourself.
I tell people, I'm like, how's your breathing?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Dr. Will. That was a good one. This was a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Again, thank you. Thank you for just bringing your wisdom, your experience, and everything to our community. But before we close, can we leave with just one final affirmation piece or advice for anyone starting their breathwork journey today?
When you take your shower, I want you to breathe in the warmth of that water and exhale, being in a space of warmth, just breathing that in. And if you're feeling really up to it, try it with slowly turn that hot water to cold and allow yourself to sit in the cold water and breathe in with your nose, out with your nose, and just feel the shift from breathing in warm and breathing in with cold, and seeing how revitalized you can be, because the coldness actually will help your immune system. So try and breathe in the warm, try and breathe in the cold. Check your body.
Beautiful. Check them bodies. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, family. If you felt a shift today, don't keep it to yourself. Share it in this episode with someone who needs it. And remember to download the Year Rebirth Workbook at theseasonofselflove.com, podcast.com, or journal the prompts of breathwork routines that support your growth. And next Monday, we're going to go a little deeper, just a little bit more deeper, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You definitely don't want to miss it. So until then, I want you to keep breathing, keep loving yourself, and know that your rebirth is already in motion. Have an amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.